Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. See, she always says
Love that little sound at the end.
She always says that like the that little troll on Lord of the Rings. You know that little Gollum.
Gollum. Oh God.
Yeah.
Jeez, Gray.
Well,
so now I'm
you went
Gollum.
you went allegedly. Yeah.
Allegedly.
So,
How are you? How's your week been?
God, I don't know. Whenever I cover the Delphi case, it's just absolute wackos come out of nowhere. So it made it sort of a little bit stressful. You know, it's just unbelievable.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people currently covering the Delphi new news, as they call it. Yeah.
Yeah, even people that have never covered it before, but they know that, I'll get a lot of views and likes and subscribes.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I know it must be frustrating for somebody like you who's covered it since day one and knows so much about the case.
Yeah. It is a little bit frustrating. I mean, it's probably similar to you and Summer Wells when some random person comes up and covers it and they get a whole bunch of stuff wrong and they get really excited about stuff that's already been completely debunked. And
yeah, that's very frustrating.
Yeah, because what happens when they do that is their fan base, who probably isn't aware of the Summer Wells case, for example, in your situation, they get really excited and worked up and about something that already isn't true, and it starts a whole new wave of the same conspiracy over and over and over.
It happens very frequently with Summer Wells case. Yep, it does.
Yeah,
it does. And it is frustrating. Hey to everybody in the YouTube chat. So we let you guys know before that Gray and I are starting a podcast. So this will be on YouTube and on our podcast service. I am doing some edits on the very first one. So this will go on there too. So we'll address the chat at the end so that it's easier for me to fix the sound and stuff.
Yeah, but it's good to see all you guys again out there.
Yes.
And you too, obviously. I mean, it's always good to see you, though. That's the thing. It's like, we haven't done a show for, what is it, a week and something now. I can't remember.
Yeah, has it been a whole week?
I think so. And now we're going to switch on to probably Maura Murray here in a little bit.
Yes, we are. We are going to be doing the Maura Murray case, and it is a very, very detailed, long case that has been covered by many. So I love doing the research part. Gray goes live every day on YouTube, unlike me. So he's covering tons of cases.
Yeah.
So for me to just throw myself into one is a lot easier and try to figure all of that out. So right now on her case, I think I probably have about 70 pages of documents and notes and stuff that I've pulled out just so that I don't mess it up, because we know, just like the Delphi case, Summer Wells case, several other cases, if you get it wrong, people are going to come looking for you. So it's a very divisive case, the Maura Murray case. There are two definitive sides there. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be covering that soon. Very soon. Yeah, it's her own rabbit hole for sure. For sure.
Yep. There we go. So are we going to get started, or?
Yeah, tell me about the new document that came out. I don't know a ton about it. I skimmed over it, and I figured you could inform us.
Well, it's got a lot of new information regarding the crime scene, that's the part that I find interesting. The part regarding Ron Logan, you have to first realize that this is a document that's 5 years old. People are treating it as if it's brand new and it's this new investigative lead and everybody's getting worked up and everything. But the thing is Ron Logan, we all know that his truck was taken. Everything like that was a long time ago. He was investigated, and it never led to any arrests regarding Abby and Libby. He did get put in jail for his parole violation. So the thing is there is some damning sounding information in this, But you also have to realize this is a document that was put together to sell to a judge to sign it so they could go search his house.
So Ron Logan was looked into, and you've probably gone over that in great detail.
Well, a long time ago, we just brought him up like, here's Ron Logan, here's they took his pickup truck and stuff like that. There's really there's no information that the investigators had that they're going to put out to the public. They're not going to say. So there was nothing really to report on. Now there's people now that are looking in and finding things about his past, like domestic abuse and things like that, which really to me is irrelevant, but it does help paint a picture of somebody that can be violent and then help sell a judge. Killing a 13 and 14-year-old in a possible sexual motive is vastly different than domestic violence.
Absolutely, I agree with that. Right. We do have other people who have also been investigated, like the Kleins, who, if you look at the same amount of detail that we have on them, it would appear to me that they would be, not saying that either are the culprits or the person who did this, but they would be more likely that I would pay more attention to them due to the peeping Tom incidents and, following women around. And then, these crazy Instagram messages that were being sent from that location. That to me seems more likely than in what I've read about Ron. He did have some issues with the exes, but I don't know. I didn't latch onto it and think, whoa, this could be the guy.
I mean, the Kagan-Klein situation seems so much more likely because they're on to that. They're on it right now. We just found out about it during the investigation of it. They've been looking into him since I think like even 2019 or 18 even. And then they finally asked for the public's help because they probably got into a stalemate. So they said, hey, they put out the Anthony Schatz information, and we know from the documents that were released by the murder sheet that that the Anthony Schatz account contacted Libby's phone at 8 a.m. on the very same day. That's what they said in the document. So that's just so much more damning. Now, does Ron Logan somehow have a connection in some other way other than killing them, like maybe part of a ring or something like that? We don't know, and there's no information whatsoever to indicate that in the public. Do the police have something like that? Maybe, but we don't.
No, we don't. So it makes it interesting, of course, but whatever we think we know today, they were investigating 5 years ago, right. And they have a ton more information than we're going to have in this situation. Additionally, he died in 2022 of COVID, correct?
Yep. He passed away. So, you'd think at that point they'd come forward and just, here's our scapegoat, everybody, and put it on him, right?
Sure.
Like, look at and use the same sort of stuff and add a little bit more to it and go, look at this. This is why we think. Because this document does have stuff that appears to be damning. Some people want to run with this and turn it into the holy grail of the case, but for me, it's actually kind of old news. It's like, I didn't know some of the details in there, but it's 5 years old.
And they haven't pursued anything all the way up until 2022 against him,
right?
Which you would assume that they would have done had there been a bit of information leading them down the path that he could have been the one, right? I mean,
right. You think
they could have found something in 5 years.
Yeah, because they took all of his electronics, just like they did with Kagan-Klein, right? They took all of that stuff, but he was never charged with anything. No child pornography, no, nothing related to that. So are we going to say that a 77-year-old guy is like this absolute whiz at computers and forensics to be able to delete all the stuff that's on there? I don't know. I don't think so.
Not unless he had a background in that, but
Yeah, I don't think so. He had a farm, and I mean, not a farm. I'm not sure.
Pharma.
Well, I think it's a farm, but he had like horses and stuff like that.
Why do you think they released it? Why do you think they released it now?
Well,
What is the purpose?
Well, it wasn't.
He's
It wasn't
already
Yeah. Well, I see.
passed away.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't think that they released it. Logan actually gave the search warrant or the affidavit, I guess, to the. I guess it's a probable cause document for
Right.
for murder, and that allowed them to search the house. So he gave it to HLN, and they already had it. That's how they came up with the 43-second length of the video. So then it got out for and then it got put out there by, I think it was, the murder sheet got it some other way, but they, everybody knew about the document now because of HLN. So it's not like, I don't think police are putting it out there, but I don't think that they didn't seem too negative about putting it out. They just wanted stuff redacted, sounded like.
Well, I mean, he's gone, so he's no longer here. He can't really object to it being put out into the public. So maybe it's just another piece that they wanted to get out there, or who knows, really. But
there's stuff in this document.
The police didn't release it.
Right.
So the police aren't saying, hey, we find this information very pertinent to this case of Abby and Libby. We want to release it so that you're all aware. No. I mean, if HLN's releasing it because Ron gave it to them, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like he gave it to him before he died, and they held on to it, and this document, by the way, apparently has been out for years. Like, everybody's had it. People wanted to hold it like, hey, I've got this secret thing, and they wouldn't put it out. So I didn't know it existed. So and so it makes you wonder if some of the theories by people were sort of based on a document they saw behind the scenes, but they're acting like they're theorizing. And I'm surprised some EVP readers didn't come up with some of this stuff.
You are silly.
Yeah. All right.
Let's look at it. Want to look at it?
Yeah. Should we just do it like this in the middle here?
Absolutely.
Can you read it this now, or?
I can. Okay, so I will start reading it. Nicole Robertson swears or affirms that she believes and has good cause to believe evidence of a homicide is located in the residence of Ronald Logan, located at blank, Delphi, Indiana, situated in the county of Carroll in said state, which is described as a white two-story single-family dwelling situated in the county of Carroll in the said state, detached garage, outbuilding, white Ford F-250 with the VIN number. This states as follows. I, Nicole Robertson, am a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation and have been employed as such for 12 years. Prior to her employment as an FBI agent, Nicole Robertson was employed as a Sauk Village, Illinois police officer for 6 years. She is assigned to the Maryville Resident Agency and currently participates in the investigation of all violent crimes. Okay, scroll down. Background. 1. On February 13th, 2017, at approximately 1 p.m.
Okay, so
juvenile.
So I got it right there. So here's the. It wasn't 1 p.m., but originally that's what Becky had thought. But they found out later it was 1:37, or about 1:25 is when they left the house.
Okay, so they thought originally it was around 1, but it really was 1:25 to 1:37. How did they prove that? With cell phone records?
Yeah, because after Kelsey dropped the girls off, right as she was dropping off, she called her boyfriend, and that was 1:37. So she probably left the house at like 1:28. Takes like 9 or 10 minutes to drive there.
There you go. So that's a correction.
And then in a minute, so you can read without me interrupting again. It says the family member was supposed to pick him up at 3 p.m., but it was actually just, hey, pick him up in an hour and a half to 2 hours. There wasn't a specific time to pick them up. So he got there at 3:15. It was going to be between 3 and 3:30 if the hour and a half to 2 hours was a reality.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. So here we go. Hereafter referred to as LG and AW were taken to the Monon High Bridge Trail located in Delphi, Indiana. LG and AW were walking the trail in the area of County Road 300 North and 575 West near the following latitude and longitudes at approximately 2:13 p.m., which was the last time of the last contact with LG and AW by cellular device. The victims were to be picked up by a family member at 3 p.m., but as Grace said, between 3 and 3:30, and the victims never met with the family member. Approximately 5:30 p.m. was the last successful ping of the cellular phone by AT&T. The victims, LG and AW, were located deceased on February 14th, 2017 at approximately, is that 2:17, Gray, or 12:17?
12:17.
12 to 17 p.m. at the above listed latitude and longitude, having been the victims of murder in accordance with the Indiana Code 354211.
Well, let me read I'll tell you guys what, if you're listening on a podcast, the latitude is 40 and then space 35 feet is how I have it with the little apostrophe, and then space 21.4 by -86, 38 feet by 23.3 inches. I know it's hours and minutes, but that's how you can do it. So it's 40 space 35 apostrophe space 21.4 comma, as if you're going to type this in somewhere like on Google Earth, and then -86 space 38 apostrophe 23.3, and then what are those called? Quote marks at the end.
Yeah, quote marks.
So also after the 0.4 on the latitude, put the quotes. All right, there you go. All right, there you go.
Okay. Moving on. Let's see here. All right, number 2. A suspect has been developed of a white male wearing a blue jacket with a heavy physical build, wearing a cap and blue jeans. The development of this suspect was made by a 43-second video taken on LG's phone, where the suspect follows the victims as they are walking on the Monon High Bridge Trail. So pause there. That is interesting. We didn't know how long it was, right? Or did you know how long it was?
Well, that came out in an HLN show not too long ago, but it is newer information. So it's 43 seconds, and it turns out that, guys, down the hill, that part is at the end of it. So the thing is, it only takes about probably 8 or, let's just say 10 seconds or so to walk from where we see him in the video to the end of the bridge to say, guys, down the hill. So there must be other video before it, and maybe a little after, right? But I think originally he was filmed another even, let's say 50 feet back, or maybe even 60 feet farther, but he's not clear, so they're not going to show us that. Like, why do we need to see that?
I gotcha.
Or maybe it was filming Abby and it sort of panned over really quick or something. We don't really know, but there is other time prior that from the video that we see.
Okay. Near the end of the video, the suspect speaks to the victims, saying down the hill. It sounds as though he is directing the victims to leave the trail that they were on and enter the wooded area below. No person has come forward and identified himself as the person who met the victims and made the statement in LG's video. Therefore, it's believed that the person in LG's video participated in the killings. Images of the suspect have been broadcast on the news media since February 15th, 2017 as a person of interest.
Sorry.
And it says 3. LG and AW are presumed to have made contact with the unknown male at approximately 2:13 p.m. based on the analysis of LG's cell phone,
and that's interesting,
which recorded the video.
Well, I was going to say that's interesting because 2:06 was the photograph on the bridge with Abby in it, and then 6 minutes later is when this video is. So now we have, I always thought it was maybe 10 minutes later or something, but it's actually 6 minutes later. They made it to the end of the bridge. If you walk quickly across the bridge, which one of my friends did, she did it in about, I think, 3 or 4 minutes. If you just kept on a really quick pace, right? So if you look at the the killer is probably trying to walk pretty fast, I would imagine.
Mm.
So that means it took them 6 minutes to go about 60% of the way across, where because right at that time, Abby's still going off the end of the bridge and gets behind Libby. So that is about the time the video was taken. So they're going slower because Abby's never been on the bridge before and is a little bit, trying to get off the end. And this guy's probably hustling, so it probably made up a lot of ground quickly. So it gives you can actually
maybe that's why she started recording, because she's seen him approaching.
Yeah,
maybe he was coming a little too fast.
Well, I think that's exactly what it was. I think it was I think prior they had actually maybe even seen him when they got there. There was this creepy guy or whatever. Then they go onto the bridge, and when they're about halfway across, they look back and here's this guy going really quick. So they sort of go to the end because they don't want to pass this psycho or the creepy guy on the bridge. So they go to the end, and he just keeps coming and he keeps coming, and it's just that's the awful part, is the fear kept building and building and building, and it never went away. It got worse and worse and worse, and then they were even killed. I mean, it's just
a horrible situation.
Nightmare. Yeah.
Number 4, on February 17th, 2017, at approximately 12:17 p.m., victims LG and AW were found dead with wounds caused by a blank weapon on the property owned by Ronald Logan. A large amount of blood was lost by the victims at the crime scene. Because of the nature of the victim's wounds, it is nearly certain that the perpetrator of the crime would have gotten blood on his person or clothing. The location of the crime scene is 1,400 feet from Logan's residence.
Yeah, that's right. He lives on, it's his property. So you got the caused by a blank weapon. It's either sharp or edged, whatever they have there. I was guessing maybe sharp. But
I'm just guessing sharp by the font type, the size, and the size of that block. So sharp would fit in there well.
And doesn't edged have the same number of letters?
No.
And E, D, G, E, D, and then S. No. Oh, well, I was thinking sharp.
Oh, edged weapon? Yeah. By an edged weapon?
S-H-A-R. Yeah, 5 and 5, right? They do. Yeah. Well, edged weapon is what they say a lot. And look how they...
Is it?
And look how they... the black part goes down a little bit, as if there was some sort of something dipping below.
Well, the P would dip below, but so would the G, so who knows, right?
Yeah, and the P is definitely way above it over there, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter, but I think it's kind of obvious what it was, because we already had heard things that would lead you to believe a sharp weapon was used.
Logan is a 77-year-old male. Logan's physical build is consistent with that of the male suspect videoed by LG on the Monon High Bridge Trail. Logan owns farmland and cares for large farm animals. Logan appears to be in good physical condition. Logan has been interviewed several times. His voice is not inconsistent with that of the person in the video.
Oh, geez, sorry.
That's interesting, that his voice is not inconsistent.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is like above it, they said his look is consistent with the guy on the bridge, right? But then when you get to this part, they say not inconsistent. That's about as wishy-washy a statement as you could ever imagine, but it sounds just good enough for a judge to go, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So not inconsistent. And somebody, by the way, I think you might be right that it was originally I thought it was a sharp weapon, but somebody said edged. So I thought, well, it could be either, but the wording says caused by a, you wouldn't say, it would say an, somebody said.
Right. So with wounds caused by an edged weapon, wounds caused by a sharp weapon. Yeah.
Sorry, it's my mom's birthday, and I just called her.
Oh, answer for your mom's birthday. I can keep reading. And say hi to everybody in the chat and on the podcast. How are you guys? I hope everybody's doing well. Yeah, sharp makes sense. Edged would be an and. Yeah, I can't move it down. Only Gray can move it down for me to read. So yes, happy birthday to Gray's mom. Here we go. We'll be cutting this part out.
Yeah. Yeah, I called her earlier. She's like, 85 now or something. Pretty cool.
Good for her. 85. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Number 6. It was also discovered that the blank of one of the victims was missing from the crime scene, while the rest of their clothing was recovered. So I'm going to say undergarments or underwear or...
Yeah. Yeah, I said
that's way too long to be clothing, so it's not clothing.
It's actually 2 items. I'm not sure, but it is undergarments, and exactly what you think with undergarments. I know the words, but they wanted those redacted, so
okay.
I'm just...
All right.
But it is undergarments, so basically what you're thinking they are is exactly what it is, but for some reason, I mean, it's pretty obvious by what you're reading there, that's what it is, so it's kind of strange that it had to be redacted, but...
Yeah. Based upon my training and experience, it is common for perpetrators of this type of crime to take a souvenir. Sorry, let me back up. It also appeared the girls' bodies were moved and staged.
Yeah.
So, they moved and staged the bodies. They're not just saying they moved them from one place to another. They staged them in a certain position.
And there was a large amount of blood at the scene, so that means that they were killed there. And I think this is probably what they did. They found where they were, but they realized that they weren't killed there because there wasn't enough blood there. Then they found the location, and then they used DNA analysis to determine which location each was killed at, and then they know exactly how, from where to where each was moved. And then they were posed when they were put in those positions.
And that's what I'm thinking about, right? What kind of person would pose 2 young girls in certain positions and take, a souvenir?
Yeah.
We don't know enough about Ronald Logan, as far as I know, to judge and say, well, based on his past, he could be this kind of person. We do know more about Anthony Schott's Klein's that make me think, is this something more that they're more likely to do if we had to pick between them all?
I guess the Tony sort of strikes me as more like that based on the behavior.
Tony.
Remember how we looked through the window and lifted the girl's shirt, her thing up with in the middle of the night through the window. I mean, that stuff's creepy. And what's odd though is this all sounds like what a serial killer would do.
Exactly. That's what I was just trying to think about. So they took undergarments, they posed the girls. We don't know anything about,
Yeah, and that's the part that
domestic violence.
See, that doesn't, like Ron Logan to me, we'll go through it because there are some stuff where you go, whoa, that's pretty crazy. But at the same time, I always thought that the killer was a serial killer-like person. And then when it came up with the social media angle, I was like, well, is that how that would work? Maybe those people are a little bit like that, though, right? They're serial offenders of some sort. Maybe some of them are a little bit more pathological or whatever you want to call it, where they're literally, they do the staging and they're really into, getting the mementos and stuff like that.
Well, if you really think about all the crimes, we've individually and together got over, think about the progress that's made from childhood. You'll see, when I studied the serial killers, it was, a bad childhood, usually, almost always, a lot of the time, going into the teens where they were kind of withdrawn and there were some issues there where they may have been more introverted or shy or, that kind of stuff. Then they go on to do things, right? You go on to do other things. And in the Klein's case, one of them was talking to very young girls, getting videos, getting photographs, seeking them out, even though he knew that he wasn't supposed to be doing this, the son, but also the dad. The dad has a reputation from younger years of being this stalker type person, and people knew to kind of avoid him because of the things that he would do. Then he went on to harming not only his wife, but the children.
Yep. And that actually seeming like it was a game. I mean,
it's like there's a progress here.
You know, he would actually hurt them physically, but have them run away first.
Right.
You know, it's really strange.
That just, to me,
that's creepy. He's in that level. He's disturbing. Right there, right? Like, he's right where you could see him doing a guy like that. You could see him posing and taking souvenirs, things like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Because most of their crimes, the Kleins, were done over these devices, right? I mean, you're reaching out to these girls, you're getting them to send you videos, you're getting them to send you nudes, you're talking in disgusting ways to them. What's the next step when that's not enough anymore? Something else.
Well, and maybe this is it.
Yeah. Okay, so she goes on to say, based upon my training and experience, it's common for perpetrators of this type of crime to take a souvenir or in some fashion memorialize the crime scene, whether by photos or electronic or digital methods, that are then downloaded onto computers, storage device, tablets, iPhones, devices, electronics, etc., for later viewing, scanning, or copying.
Let me just throw something in there. I think those are two of the signatures, like actually taking the undergarment and posing them. So when signatures were mentioned, I think that might be considered two of them. Wouldn't you think? Yeah. Okay.
I agree with you. Number 7, LG and AW had no visible signs of a struggle or fight. Does that surprise you in any way?
It does a little bit, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what they consider a struggle. Like, I thought there... one source said that there was marks on her wrist because she was dragged somewhere, and that makes sense now that we know that she was moved, right? Because Libby weighed about 200 pounds, so that's why they think maybe a strong person committed these crimes. But I'm not sure. I don't think that means that you're struggling if there's, maybe that's after death, right?
Maybe.
I don't know if you bruise after death, so that's another thing. So.
8, during the processing of the crime scene, investigators located unknown fibers and unidentified hairs, which may later be used for comparison of similar fibers or hairs. Number 9, Logan owns numerous weapons, including handguns and knives, that were observed by law enforcement officers during the execution of a search warrant that took place at his home on March 16, 2017. Logan's home was searched as a result of a probation violation. The search was limited to the discovery of firearms and included only his main residence. His probation was for drunk driving. Is that correct?
I don't remember. I don't remember what he was in there for, but I know that he wasn't supposed to drive or drink, and then he did those things, so he was put back in jail.
I gotcha.
So maybe he had drunk driving or something before. So, I mean, that makes sense given that. And it was actually March 6th up there, if somebody's out there and they want to look something up.
March 16th, 2017.
No,
yes.
It says March 6th up there, though. See?
March 6th, yes, 2017.
I thought you said 16th.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did too. She did too, everybody. She just said it again, as a matter of fact. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to hit the replay. All right, go ahead. So now we're on, what are we on?
Number 10, okay. On February 14th, 2017, at approximately 9:20 a.m., Logan contacted his cousin, Blank, and Logan asked Blank to tell the police that he came to Logan's home between 2 and 2:30 on February 13th, 2017, to pick up Logan. Logan further told him to say that he drove Logan to an aquarium store in Lafayette, Indiana. Logan told him to say that they returned home to Logan's house between 5 and 5:30 p.m.
Yeah, see, that part's interesting because 2 to 2:30 is exactly, the photograph at 2:07, then 2:13 the video, then they're probably... so that would clear him if he had an alibi from the exact time frame in there. Okay, and then he says he wants to be back by 5. Let's tell them I was back between 5 and 5:30. Well, that takes him completely out of the entire range of the crime.
And he would do this because one, he shouldn't have been driving anywhere. Two, there was a murder on his property, and they were asking around of who was in the vicinity, right? Between those times, you would assume, based on the information they have, they're
Yeah.
asking between 1 and 5.
But here's the thing.
Who was around?
Here's the thing that they point out is, see, at 9:20. So on February 14th at 9:20 a.m., Logan contacted his cousin. Well, at 9:20, as we know from earlier, 12:17 is when the bodies are found. So at 9:20, before the bodies were even found, he's trying to make an alibi for the exact time that the girls were murdered. But the thing is you got to realize that the day before, people were already walking around, like at
saying they were up here. The girls should have been
3:00.
here between 2 and 3.
Yeah, well,
we don't know where they are.
Yeah, there's like 3:00 in the afternoon. People were already searching around, going over to Logan's property, asking, "Hey, can we go look around here?" Then the next day they were found, so he was probably already paranoid. Okay, these girls went missing on my property. They're going to come ask me questions. Where were you? And I need to have an alibi.
Yeah, it's a stupid move. It's this really stupid thing for him to do, considering 2 girls are missing. He doesn't know at that point, allegedly, that they're deceased on his property. He doesn't know that yet, and he won't for another 3 hours. But he knows, I wasn't supposed to be driving, which leads us to the other question. He also took a drive to the dump, right?
But that was even earlier in the morning, so the girls weren't even at the bridge or anything at that point.
Right. And he probably thought, well, I can get away with that. Nobody's even going to ask about that.
Right. Like, cameras at a dump. I mean, who the hell? So you just drive on these roads, you go to the dump, come back. But the other one was to a pet store buying betas that he was going to deep fry later.
What?
No, I was just kidding. That was pretty good. Oh, that was awesome. God, that was amazing.
Grace. I'm like, he does what? He's guilty. Don't do that. Oh my goodness. That was a mess. See how mean he is to me? This guy here. Anyway, Lord jeez. Number 11 says, on February 14th, 2017, while requesting consent to search Logan's property, a law enforcement officer advised Logan that law enforcement would not search his home unless evidence led to Logan's home. In that meeting, Logan told law enforcement he did not think that evidence would lead them, but said, I don't know. Number 12, a receipt from Aquarium World in Lafayette dated February 13th, 2017 with a checkout time of 5:21 was found in his home on March 6th of 2017 during a probation violation search. He resides approximately 22 miles from the store, and it would take approximately 30 minutes to get to the store from his home. Okay, so he might be like me and spends hours in the aquarium store.
4:45. Yeah, who knows when he took off. He could have left it. See, down below, he says he left at 3:00. Logan said that he left, picked up by some, so Logan.
Like around 3 p.m.
Right, so the thing is that's bad.
You just messed up your whole thing.
Right, that's right. It's bad for him. He now puts himself at home before 3:00, which his home, his property, is the location where the girls were murdered and found. So now so when everybody's going, they just want to look at the one part that seems nefarious, the 2 to 2:30, because, ooh, look, he's right there. He's trying. But right here, he places himself there. He doesn't leave till 3, so now he's there during the whole crime,
Okay, number 13. On March 6th, during an interview with law enforcement, Logan said he was picked up by blank around 3 p.m. and taken straight to the aquarium store in Lafayette. In the March 6, 2017 interview, Logan said after he was done at the aquarium store, he was driven straight home. These statements were found to be factually false and intentionally designed to deceive law enforcement. Number 14 says on March 7th of 2017, the cousin was interviewed by law enforcement. He told law enforcement that he was with Logan on Monday, February 13th, and that he drove Logan to the aquarium store in Lafayette. On March 9th, 2017, Blank was interviewed by another law enforcement officer regarding the trip to the aquarium. He told the law enforcement he had lied when he was interviewed by law enforcement on March 7th, 2017, at Logan's request. Blank explained that Logan had never asked him to lie for him in the past. Blank knows that Logan has driven his vehicle while on probation and is prohibited from doing so. He also said that Logan did not ask him to lie for him when he drove to the transfer station earlier that day.
And so we just kind of explained all of this. Like it seems,
Sure.
It seems like he's asking now because there's a presence. There was even police walking around the night that they went missing. Remember, they searched all the way up into the late evening. So the thing
I have a question though. If this guy, let's just imagine for a moment, there was a lot of blood at the scene. How could he have avoided getting blood on his boots and or shoes?
Well, they
tracking it up the hill to his home. He could have taken them off, right?
Yeah, it makes it sound. That's why they're bringing that part up where they said that the perpetrator would surely have a lot of blood on them because of the wounds and the amount of bleeding that was going on. Probably arterial spray.
Is there any evidence to show that there was a trail up to his home or a trail away from the girls that tracked that blood anywhere?
Not that we know of, and if there was, he'd be in prison. I mean, he would have been arrested.
Of course.
Yeah, and it would have led right to the house, and it would be really obvious.
If he wanted him to lie and say 2 to 2:30, but then he tells on himself and says it was 3. Between the time that the girls were killed, which we assume is sometime after 2:13, and they left at 3. He would have had 45 minutes to clean himself up, get rid of
except that was proven to be a lie. See, that trip never even happened. So
no, he had a receipt.
Yeah, so for me, it's just like he's throwing out time, like, he picked me up around this time. Just tell him that, and it turns out that doesn't really help him out. The 3 o'clock one puts him in the crime area for 45 minutes. So, but it turns out that's a lie. So if he was going to lie, why wouldn't he completely have it be like, I left at 1?
Hold on. So they never went to the aquarium?
Well, no, I think he went to the aquarium, but he went on his own. So he drove out there.
I understand. Because he had a receipt saying he left at 5 something.
Yeah, so he probably left later in the afternoon, which would be after the crime was committed. Maybe, you could argue he was trying to set up an alibi. Oh, it was at the fish store.
Sure.
So there's stuff that sounds, it's just the way you word things. You can make things seem more nefarious, right?
All right. Scroll down. Number 15. On March 12th, 2017, Blank explained in an interview to law enforcement that Logan called him on the morning of February 14th, 2017, asked him to provide the alibi for Logan's drive to the aquarium in Lafayette. This phone call was made prior to their discovery of LG and AW's deceased bodies. Based on investigators' experience, it is reasonable to believe that the creation of an alibi prior to the discovery of a crime indicates culpability or knowledge of the crime. Number 16.
Except if you're trying to make an alibi for another problem that you have. And that's breaking.
And he did have another problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 16, Blank said he thought, now this is his cousin, okay?
Yeah.
Blank said he thought the photograph of the male that was released by the media of the man on the bridge looked like Logan.
Yeah, except, here's the thing, everybody. I was contacted by at least 20 people that said, oh my God, I know who that guy is on the bridge. It looks just like my husband. Or it looks just like my ex-boyfriend. It looks just like this. It looks just like that. It's so generic, everybody. Almost everybody has the blue jeans,
somebody in their
jacket,
life,
and in Indiana, I saw a photograph one time. It was unbelievable. I can't find it anymore, but there was like 9 guys and a few women walking down a trail, and every guy had blue jeans, a blue jacket, a hat, and it was unbelievable. Like every single person looked consistent with the.
My Uncle Jimmy's got that body shape, so if he just put a hat on, it could be him too.
Well, there you go.
Number 17. Law enforcement learned that Logan had driven on February 13th to the transfer station in Delphi, Indiana to drop off trash. Video from the transfer station shows Logan driving his white Ford pickup truck between 11:27 and 11:32. The video from the transfer station appears to be off by 26 minutes, putting Logan at the transfer station approximately 11:53 a.m. and 11:58 a.m. 18. Logan did not ask his cousin to provide an alibi for his drive to the transfer station on February 13th. He only asked him to provide an alibi for a trip that would have occurred at the time of the apparent abduction of LW and LG and AW.
And that does sound nefarious, right? Like you see that and you go, wow. But there's also an alternate explanation that's definitely possible, that he just didn't think that the trip to the dump would need an alibi for. You know,
True.
like meaning they're not going to even know that he was ever there. He didn't know that there were cameras at a dump, something like that. And and that would be for his parole violation.
Right.
But they don't mention that in here a lot. Like, give you the alternates.
Number 19, on March 8th, 2017, a lady was interviewed by law enforcement. She had met Logan about 7 or 8 years ago. She was in a personal relationship with Logan for a couple of months and would stay with him in his home on the weekends. She left Logan after he became physically abusive. During her interview, she explained that Logan continued to stalk and harass her after their breakup. During their relationship, Logan had dragged her out of the car by her hair. She still fears Logan. She has not had contact with Logan in approximately 2 years. She told interviewers that Logan had told her in the past that he could kill her and no one would find her body. Pause. If that's the case, and he could kill her and nobody would ever find the body, he could have done so to Abby and Libby, and nobody would find their body
instead of leaving the bodies right on your own property. See, that's the
right on your own property.
That's one of the parts that's always made me go, why would a killer like Logan, especially somebody who, like they're assuming Logan is, why would somebody like that, somebody that would actually take the time to pose the bodies, move them around, leave them on their own property? Does that make any sense to anybody?
To me, it does not.
Yeah,
I would think that if you are this person, and maybe he's, some kind of crazed serial killer who's gotten away with these things for years, but if he has, then you can believe that those other killings, the alleged ones, he's been able to get away with it because he is hiding bodies or making sure that there's enough room between him and those killings. I mean, this is a 77-year-old man. This happens on his property. He leaves them there. That's pretty out there for me. I don't know.
Yeah, it just seems like...
It doesn't lead me initially to say, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, number 20. During her March 8th, 2017 interview, Blank said that she knew Logan carried a gun everywhere he went. Blank knew that Logan would carry a gun in a fanny pack. Blank described Logan's fanny pack as one made out of a nicer material. Well, does that mean anything? No, because we think it was a sharp weapon, correct? We don't believe that the girls were shot.
Well, no, the gun was used when he said down the hill. He pulled out a gun, it clicked, and he said, guys, down the hill. That's what he used to control them. Then he used a knife later. That's what law enforcement believes anyways.
Did this man on the bridge guy, did he have a fanny pack on that we can see?
Well,
or can we not tell?
Well, there's people that think it's a fanny pack. Let me, I'll pull up the video really quick. So here we go. So this thing right here, can you see that below?
Yeah, is that a sweatshirt or is that a fanny pack?
For me, it feels like, there's a certain frame where it goes completely flat against his clothing. So for me, there's
Which made me think it was a sweatshirt.
Yeah, I think it's the tail of a shirt, like the front.
Yeah.
So let's say he's got a hoodie on or something. Could that be the unzipped hoodie, one side sticking out, or could it just be a dark shirt underneath? Some people think it's a fanny pack. I don't know what it is.
Can you pause him really quick?
I don't know maybe
when
I
you
can.
get him good in a good frame there.
Yeah, maybe. Well, that's where it, right? Oh God, that was it. Okay,
You had him there, Gray.
Yeah, and then it kept moving. So let me move it back.
And just so that people on the podcast know, Gray has edited the Man on the Bridge video so that you can see him in a stabilized manner. If you would like to come over to the YouTube channel, you'll be able to see that.
See, like right there, it's completely flat against his
leg.
That's
his sweatshirt, maybe.
Yeah, it's hard to say. 100%.
It is difficult because it's bulged out there a bit, isn't it? And then it just goes flat.
Yeah, it looks to me like he's propping something up under his jacket with his right hand. So look, when you look at it again, when it gets the closer, let me move it back. Well, when it's larger, it's better. His left hand is in his left jean pocket. His right hand is not in his jean pocket. It's like up, almost like he's holding onto something, propping it up underneath that jacket. And I think that's a gun. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but see how
I am looking very closely.
See how the left hand is in the jean pocket, just the fingers kind of. You can see the top. This hand is much higher. Look at how his shoulders up, his elbows more bent, everything. So I think in that one he's sort of holding up, propping up something underneath that jacket. You can even see the bulge of it coming out.
Yeah, you definitely can.
So what that is,
and then it looks like you've almost got a army green-ish hat or hoodie, but then around the neck it looks like a gray hoodie maybe, or scarf. I don't know. Then you got the blue jacket, and then you've got
there's some kind of white thing coming up.
Could
underneath.
Be a fanny pack. I mean, it could be.
Yeah, it could be, but it also could just be a shirt because it goes completely flat. That means there's nothing in it. So maybe, is it possible that the fanny pack had the gun in it? Then at one point he took it out of the fanny pack, so now it can go flat, and he has it underneath the jacket, propping it up. Is that possible? Lots of things are possible. The video is, it's pretty blurry, grainy. You can't see his face.
But you did a really good job stabilizing it so that it almost looks as though it's in a straight line the whole time.
Well, thanks. And if you noticed,
because that was hard.
Well, yeah, it was hard. And if you watch it again, notice see the lines on the bridge. How there's a really light one behind him, and then a dark and a dark. I even lined those things up, like you can see, because the angle of the photograph was so close that it was.
How long did that take you to do?
Oh, it took I don't know, hours. 2 or 3 hours. 3 hours at least, and then.
I mean, it can take me, an hour to decide on the right thumbnail and the correct filters. I can't imagine how long it took to do that. So in our YouTube chat, it says BG does not have a white mustache like Ron does. Correct.
Yeah.
I don't see a white mustache unless it's blurred out by the sunshine, but I don't
think
see it
he
either,
looks or moves anything like Ron Logan. And a lot of people say it now. In a minute here, she does say something that's like, before she, we'll go to that part and then we'll stop it there.
All right. 21. During her March 8th, 2017 interview, she told law enforcement when she first saw the photograph of the man on the bridge, she thought police were searching for Logan because she thought the photograph was Logan. She did not initially realize the photograph was that of the suspect. So let me ask you this. At what point was the photograph of the man put out?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think they put it out on the 15th, but at that time they just said they're looking for this guy. So that makes sense even reading this. So it's weird. Okay. It's like exactly the...
But I'm wondering, did she come forward on the 15th saying, hey, this looks just like my ex?
I don't know if she did that, but she said that when they were just looking for the person there, she thought, oh, that's Logan. But she didn't realize that was a suspect. Well, that's because they didn't really make it known that he was a suspect for a week or so later. That this is, they were pretty careful. They were kind of wanting the person to come forward, but the person never did. So then they knew that the person on the bridge was a killer because they never came forward. And it's pretty obvious based on the timing of everything.
Okay. 22. A call placed using Logan's cell phone produced cell tower data that shows Logan's cell phone appears to be in or around his property on February 13th, 2017 at 2:09 p.m. Although his exact location cannot be confirmed, the tower data shows that Logan's cell phone was in the Delphi area, in the area of the Monon High Bridge Trail,
which makes sense because he lives there. Well, he lives there though. I mean,
but it blows his theory of, saying, "Oh, I was at the aquarium store."
Right.
No.
So that's the thing. It does mean that he was at home, but he kind of admitted that by saying he went to the aquarium store at 3.
Right.
So he admitted it himself, and so
Right.
that means he already said that he was around there. But they try to make it ping at the crime scene, but it's
hard.
not really. The way they word it is really shaky here.
Sure. 23. An analysis of Logan's cell phone data revealed a text message sent from his phone at 7:56 p.m. on February 13th, 2017. Initial exam of this analysis indicates Logan's phone was likely outside of his residence and in the proximity of where LG and AW's bodies were found.
So see how it says likely outside the residence? Resident and in the area. What does that mean, proximity, by the way?
So today's technology is a heck of a lot better. I can pinpoint where my daughter is within probably 5 feet.
Well, that's with multiple
right?
towers. They only have one there, so that's why they weren't.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So there's only one tower.
That was near there. Yeah, it was right there actually. But so you'd have it in a pie shape, and obviously they have technology. Okay, it's likely it was outside in the proximity. Well, just him being at his house. Let's say he was out in the yard feeding a horse. That's going to be, in the proximity of the crime scene. It's so close.
It's 1,400 feet away, right? His property from the crime scene?
Well, his house, yeah. I mean, his property is the crime scene. Like that, literally, he owns it. So that's the thing. It's like his house. So if he was outside 1,000 feet, I mean, that's 0.2 of a mile.
Well, I would say that, if we don't know what the technology could do at that point, but if his farm is behind his home and he's 200 feet off into the pasture feeding a horse, it's going to show a different location than it's going to show if he's down further on his own property near the crime scene.
Yeah, but I think if you have multiple cell towers that you can do that easier. Like you can actually pinpoint somebody because you can triangulate. So here's his house, and then the crime scene's right there. If he was walking around here or something, maybe he's even in the general area helping people, like, hey, do you want to go search down there or something? And who knows? But people did come by his house. One thing that you could speculate about that we don't have any way of knowing, and it's just wild, it's just complete speculation, is when people were searching, did he go down there? Maybe he saw them and went, oh God, oh jeez, oh shit. He didn't touch them or anything, but he goes back up, and then he really is focused in on the alibi during a certain time. But then how would he have known? I guess that would be something. How would he know the particular time that he needed an alibi for, unless he was part of it? So then you get,
unless people were talking, saying, the family's been up here and these girls were here between 1:30 and they were supposed to be picked up at 3, but they've gone missing and we don't know.
And that 207 Instagram picture was put out really early, so there's probably people that said, oh yeah, it was right around 2, so they would know that information.
Yeah, they would.
Or Snapchat, excuse me, not Instagram. Snapchat.
Okay.
All right, let me get
What are the odds, Adam? I don't know. All right. Back to number 24. An analysis of Logan's cell phone data revealed a text message received by his phone at 10:16 p.m. on February 13th, 2017. Initial exam of this analysis indicates Logan's phone was likely outside of his residence and in the proximity of where LG and AW's bodies were found.
Okay, so what they're trying to say here, though, is that, maybe from 7:56 to 10:16, he's at the crime scene. There's all these people walking around out there, and yet he's going to put himself at the crime scene. I don't know. See, that's another thing that just doesn't seem.
Or the proximity could mean
he's moving them at that point. See, that could be a theory that you might come up with, is that at 8 or 7:56 or 10:16 at one point he goes down there and he knew that they were searching, and they were left in a spot that was more open, and so he moved them somewhere. That would be a theory that you could come up with, but is there any evidence of that other than you saying that his phone pinged in the proximity, even though his house is basically almost in the proximity? You know, it's
right.
So,
I mean, that's a tough one, but I would hope that at that point, a judge would know what proximity means and maybe have them specify a little bit more. You know, proximity, well, it is his property, so he has every right to be walking around his property. How close is proximity to the crime scene?
Let me see the data.
You know, that's
Let me see the data.
Crucial.
On that. But they're just relying on, see, that's why above they say 12 years of experience. This is supposed to be, a beyond reproach type of stuff. So when I'm saying this, and that's what, here's the thing, everybody. In our country, we've had many people that have been exonerated off of death row, right? And they didn't even do it. So that means a story was being able to be weaved by spinning the wording of certain information so that an entire jury was like, yeah, he's guilty, right? And so in a document like this, they're trying to sell to the judge to be able to do more searching at the house, and it turns out it never led to anything. So you have to imagine that a little wording here was a little bit biased sounding. Obviously, you're going to do it that way because you want to go search the house for maybe
you're right,
undergarments or the bloody clothing or something, right? Yeah.
And that's why you've got to be so extremely careful with these cases, especially us on social media who are talking about the cases. You know, we could spin this narrative, like I've seen a lot so far on social media since this broke, to point more fingers at him. But the reality of the situation is this document is from 2017. They continued, I'm sure, to investigate this man and obviously have come up with nothing because he is now deceased, and they never, as far as we know, they never pursued anything any further. Now, more documents could come out saying, he was brought in and detained for a little while and talked to and whatever, but we don't have any of that. We don't know that to be true. So,
yep, there you go.
25. Logan met with law enforcement on or about February 17th, 2017, while they were on his property. Logan was physically able to get up and down the hill from his home to the crime scene. 26. On March 14th, 2017, Logan's former housemate Blank was interviewed. He or she resided with Logan from about September 2016 through December of 2016. So September, just a few months.
Yeah.
She was in a sexual relationship with Logan on and off for approximately 3 years. During the interview with law enforcement, Blank said when she first learned that AW and LG were missing and then found dead near Logan's home, her initial thought was Logan was involved. She said in her interview that she feared Logan and even previously told her baby's father that if she ever ended up dead, Logan did it.
I mean, those are always kind of interesting statements too. I mean, those are ones that lean the other direction because you hear that a lot, and then somebody goes missing, and it turns out to be the person that they feared might kill them, and so it's weird that she felt that level of fear. But again, it's an adult and probably another abusive relationship. It's not really a 13 or 14-year-old kid, but it shows a violent, perhaps, tendency.
It's a different victimology.
Yeah, totally
these
different.
Are sexual relationships with grown adult women where there could have been drinking, there could have been jealousy, there could have been cheating. He might be very possessive or dominant in relationships, and when they try to leave, he doesn't want that. So
yeah, it could also be you could make the scenario with the killers is that there was a stressor, like he broke up with one of them and then he took it out on a proxy, which might have been Abby and Libby, so
possibly.
So that's sort of like something criminals do and these sexual predators. So
This man is 77.
yeah.
I would want to see something in his past, maybe, that would lead us down this road.
Mm-hmm.
You don't all of a sudden, I don't think, become, a crazed killer who kills children
And it doesn't
because of
sound
a
like
breakup.
Well, it doesn't sound like their investigation of his electronic devices or anything led them to believe that he was engaged in child pornography or anything like that, or he would have been arrested for that. I mean, there's all kinds of wild speculation you can come up with, like, oh, but maybe he did, and he's what led to Kagan Klein and all. And he was sort of a confidential informant for them at that point, and so they didn't charge him on that because he was just a low-level player. I mean, you could go down 1,000 rabbit holes, but there's no evidence of that, so you can't do it. You can mention it, but it's like, where do you go with that? Nowhere.
27. On March 14th, 2017, she explained in her interview that Logan had been violent with her in the past. She explained that on July 4th, 2016, while at his home, Logan punched her in the face and knocked her down. She explained that she was drinking, but Logan was completely sober during the incident. She also explained that Logan was angry because she disrespected him while in his home.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that has any... See, that one's just like, she's drunk. Who the hell knows what was going on there? He should never hit her, but, that right there is like a standard situation of, like, domestic violence at a house, It doesn't seem... It's just showing that he's violent. It's selling it to the judge, basically.
Sure. 28. On February 13th, 2017, LG's family began searching in the area of the trail where LG and AW were initially dropped off, beginning shortly after 3 p.m. LG's family and other community members joined in the search shortly thereafter. Carroll County Sheriff's Office was notified at approximately 5:30 p.m. that LG and AW were missing. Once the search for LG and AW began, no one reported seeing any person matching the description of the male on the bridge. 29. The FBI has established a database for the collection and organization of tips provided by the public in this case. A search of the database has revealed 15 tips in which citizens, both known and anonymous, attributed the crime to Logan for various reasons.
What do you make of that? What does that even matter, though? I was tipped in, okay? I mean, I was probably tipped in by because they didn't like me, so they tipped me in, right? So the thing is Logan, he lives there. It's such an obvious tip. And, in the Summer Wells case, how many people have tipped in every one of these people around? I guarantee.
Oh, they've had 1,000 tips come in Summer Wells' case, and not one has panned out, and it's very frustrating for TBI, FBI, and Hawkins County. It's extremely frustrating.
So 15 tips, that doesn't mean anything to me, especially in this case where there were so many people. They send in tips, and hey, what about Ron Logan? What about Ron Logan? Well, yeah. Well, they already know it. They've been searching his house with pickup trucks. But maybe if these are all random and they had various stories, maybe I'd like to see what they were saying.
Absolutely. What are the tips?
What was the
based
reason?
On what?
Right.
Because 25 years ago, you guys had a fist fight, and he was really violent in a bar. Because he cusses a lot and has road rage.
Like if you know somebody.
What are your reasons? And if there was something involving a child. Then hopefully they took that extremely seriously and went after him for that. But again, we've seen nothing other than this.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you knew somebody and they were violent to you and you feared them, and then later in life somebody dies on their property, you're going to be calling in and saying, "Whoa, have you looked at this guy?" And it's not even an invalid thing. It's what you feel at the time, right? So anyway.
Yeah, I think before I know for me, before I got into the true crime stuff here on social media and really reading and digging and watching everything that I can, whether it be FBI people or whatever on different channels, I would have done the same thing. I would have thought, oh yeah, I can see why, Jimmy died in Boston. I remember he was a real jerk when we were young. But that has nothing to do with if Jimmy killed a child. You don't understand that when you're just thinking about it. You assume, oh yeah, yeah, he was a real jerk, that guy. Well, that doesn't mean that all of a sudden he murders children.
Right. There's
That
a
is very
big
different.
leap there. Big leap.
Huge leap. So, we have to think about that. Based on the number 30, based on the above aforementioned facts, Logan was in the area the time the crime occurred, and that he provided false information about his activities during the crime to law enforcement, has a prior propensity for violence, employed others to assist in deceiving law enforcement, and plotted for an alibi in a crime that has not been yet discovered. So they want to search everything on his property, his house, his garage, his outbuildings, a vehicle. They give the VIN number, any evidence pertaining to a murder, including clothing, forensic evidence, blood, seen and unseen, hair, bodily fluids, seen and unseen, fibers, weapons, including guns and cutting instruments, electronic devices used to produce cellular signals detected by law enforcement in the area of the crime scene, and animal hair samples, which led me to believe there were hair fibers found at the scene, right?
Yeah,
they were trying to match them up.
It's either animal hair or human hair. They have fibers in hair. So the animal fiber. So now that they say animal hair samples, well, they probably want to compare it to what they've collected at the crime scene. So the thing is, you can do genetic genealogy now on just hair by itself without the follicle. So that's kind of a new thing. So, but if it's a pet, how would
it's a little different, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, how would that work? I mean, I'm sure you can do the same thing, except there isn't really this GED match for pets, so what difference would it make?
I mean, there should be. I had my dogs tested.
God.
Their genes were all tested.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they can test genes, but GED match is a family tree thing where you'd find.
Yeah, different.
Who the dad
I think
was.
we should have one for pets. Pets matter. Okay. Anyway, number 4, they want to search all the computer, digital software, streaming, floppy disk, all of that. We don't need to read all of those things, but if you can imagine it, they want to search it if it's on his property. And then what else is on here?
Yeah, it looks like all the same stuff that they got. It's kind of standard stuff, really. Because you're going over
digital
there,
cameras.
They know what the crime scene is, so they're going to want to get all the weapons from the house. They want to get the knives. They want to see if they can find the bloody clothing that they think surely exists. They want to check any of his digital presence in any platform of any kind. And I think it's just a wide sweeping warrant or probable cause that they're trying to get a warrant to be able to search all of everything in this guy's life and house. So
scroll down.
Oh yeah, it's kind of all similar stuff.
All the things. They want all of the things, Gray.
Yeah.
5, records, documents, writings, correspondence containing information about the crime scene, or any individual involved in the crime scene. 6, any and all tablets, phones, iPad devices, any and all other electronic devices which may contain digital data. 7, any and all computer data, including but not limited to photographs, videos, documents, email, sound files, which may contain evidence of the violations of the criminal statutes listed at the beginning of this affidavit. And then she signs it, and it's on the 17th day of March of 2017. Based on all of that, she did a great job in writing this up.
Yeah,
it was convincing for sure.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah, and some of it's a little, I can see why it might. I wonder how. Let's see. I wonder how really interested they were in him, and how much they spun the information, or is this really the stuff that they were like, wow, this is crazy, he's got to be it, you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things. It might be in the middle somewhere. Like, okay, how can we sell this? Well, he did try to tell his friend to 2 to 2:30, but then he said 3, which places him there. That's counter, so I mean, that's interesting that they put that part in there, that he said it was 3, but it was all proven to be false. But why would he say 3 if he was really
Sure.
trying to sell it, because he's now placing himself at the crime
Back
scene.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're going to go through the trouble after 10 p.m. to go pose bodies, I don't think you're going to pose them on your own property.
Yeah.
Now, do you know what kind of farm animals he had? Do you have any idea?
Well, I know he had horses, and I'm not sure.
I'm just thinking, you almost, I don't want to be morbid, but
The pigs, right?
exactly.
Okay.
If you have hogs or something, it doesn't take much to let that go through your mind unless he wants to be seen, unless he wants this to happen, and he's that kind of person. But do you become that kind of person at the age of 77?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, one of the
Maybe
things
you do.
we got out of this is, if you're listening, you can't see it, but you can watch the video later. The GPS coordinates they gave are right here, but through tons and tons of visual comparisons and stuff out there, the crime scene's right over here. So I don't know if they're just generally saying, like, in this area, it's close. It's not exactly on. Well, it's like 0.02 miles, like really short, 100 and something feet.
So, based on what you know, where they were posed and where the crime scene was, were those pins?
Yeah. Well,
I see the crime scene there.
Well, I think the posing and stuff was in this, right back in this area.
Okay.
And originally I thought, well, is it possible that that's where they were originally killed and moved? But then somebody astutely commented in a community post that, well, the tape though would be outside of that, and that's absolutely true. So the tape would have been way over here. You can actually see there's a woman named Julie Melvin who took a video where you can see she's standing right here where this pin is, across, and then this log. You see these logs in the water right there? Those are in her picture, and the yellow tape starts right there. Then you see it go back there.
I see.
I can't make out the left-hand side of the tape in that one, but then later on there's another reporter that's standing at the crime scene right here, and you can see that tree at basically that same angle.
I see how you came up with this then. So that makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
So that's what it seems like. And we got some interesting information, like the video at the time that Libby filmed the killer, it was at 2:13, and it was 43 seconds long, and he was about right here at the time, which is only about 60 feet to the end. So if it's 43 seconds and the down the hill part's right at the end, that means there's a good 10 or 15 seconds, maybe even 20, of prior videoing, which means if he could have been over in this area, a little bit further back. See, there's a lot of people that think that the killer was over here, past the girls, then turned around. Okay, but law enforcement in this one said that they were filming, Libby was filming the individual following them. They didn't say passed them and turned around, But again, you could say, well, he's following them now. There's always this argument.
Well, sure, yeah. But they would know based on the video that she was shooting.
And why would you walk by 80, 70 feet or so and then turn around? You can already see the other end of the bridge from the start of it,
Maybe you're making sure nobody else is around.
Yeah, but you can already see
You're
it from
deciding.
here.
Maybe you have some hesitation based on one of their sizes. Can I take both of them? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I still think you're right. I think that he was more likely there, didn't pass them and come back.
You just followed them across. And
I just can't see why they, weren't trying to. I don't know. I mean, was there anywhere? Could they have run?
No, there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go because
that's it. It's the end, right?
Here,
there's just nowhere
woods and stuff. Now, amazingly, I guess you could say, is if they went down the hill like they had to do, forced to do. There's that road. Just taking that road goes right to where Abby lived. I mean, like literally, it's not even a mile away. But you wouldn't know that though. Like you're a kid that's never been there before, and you're over here. You don't know even where you're at. So they were discussing which way to go. Where do we go? Where do we go? And I think they were just kind of hoping he was some just guy that was going to walk by.
Sure.
Right? And it didn't turn out to be that way. I mean, what a
absolutely.
That's when I get kind of like emotional about it. It's like when I picture Because, like I've said before, all of us have had that moment of terror in your life where something is about to happen. You just know it, and your heart's beating really fast, and you almost feel like you're going to pass out. Mm-hmm. And then it passes, and you're like, oh, jeez,
thank goodness.
Shit. You like that. So imagine having that feeling, but it never went away, and in fact, kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And then, oh man, and then one of them saw the other one get killed, and then they get killed. I mean,
that's one of the worst things I could possibly think of, is having to see your very best friend and know this is going to happen to you. I mean, these are kids who were out trying to have a fun day on a nice day. You know, it's a warm day. We're going to go. Yeah. And then their families are left thinking, why did we let them go? Why did we let them have social media or whatever? Why did we allow?
And those are all
the whys.
And those are all things that are natural to wonder, like, man, if I had just done this. But what they were doing is natural things that you let people do. The problem is there's a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking with the moral superiority police that say, I would have never let my girls go to that bridge. Well, maybe you would have if you lived in the small town and there was no crime at all in terms of violent stuff like that. Yeah. And they didn't even lock their doors in that community because they were immune, they felt, from the evolution of crime around the country. And it turns out now they all lock their doors, and now they probably all have everybody check in, and it kind of sucks too, right? Because
it does.
Remember when you were a kid, like you could just get on a bike and start pedaling around
and go, go.
Be back at 5 for dinner. It's like it was crazy, right?
Yeah.
And that's gone.
And you kind of get lulled into that sense of security. The video that I had just done on the most unusual suspect, Russell Williams, they were very safe in that neighborhood. Everybody felt really safe. The doors were open. He was the colonel of the military, great guy by all accounts. And then all of a sudden, all of this starts happening, and the whole culture of Cozy Cove in this little town of Tweed, everything changes. Kids don't want to sleep in their rooms because somebody had been in their bedrooms, and it just becomes crazy. But you really do. You feel safe, and safety
that's sort of an
definitely not guaranteed.
Interesting concept. You almost kind of wonder I wonder if serial killers sometimes research an area to go to where they still haven't had any issues, so they're going to leave their doors unlocked. People will just be complacent, and then you go there, boom, commit your crime, then you move on to another location
and you're able to ruin that for everybody.
Yeah,
and that sticks in your mind. Aha, look what I was able to do. They're never going to forget me because their whole lives have changed now.
Yeah,
and that's tragic. It really is. It's tragic.
Facts.
Well, we are going to end the podcast part here and talk to our YouTube chat for a little while. So thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to put our individual channels and our combined channel here in the show notes. We thank you guys for listening to us, and hopefully you start following us on the podcast if podcasts are your thing. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Now we cut. What's going on, yo? You know what my son said last night?
What was that?
So funny. He comes in, Mom, how many YouTube channels do you have? And I said, well, I have a couple. I have one for the fish. I have one for just chatting on the porch. And then I have one for true crime stuff. And he goes, and your collab with Gray Hughes.
Collab. All right.
I turned around. I was like, what? He's like, the collab with Gray Hughes. So mean, allegedly.
He knows the word collab.
And he's 7. I was like, what? I said, how do you know who's Gray Hughes? He's like, what are you talking about? I know Gray Hughes, and you have a channel with him, and you collab with him on YouTube. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to tell Gray this one. Wow. I was just like, oh yeah, that's true, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't know how he knows that word or how he even knows your name. And I'm thinking he might be searching us up on YouTube or something. This kid.
Well, maybe
it's very possible. I hope he's not.
He is watching me be so mean.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Well, for some it's not allegedly, but yeah.
Yeah, for some it's probably not alleged, right?
Yeah.
So great live. Thank you guys.
So
I hope
what are you guys
everybody's
thinking
doing
there?
well. Yeah, what do you think about this guy? If we had to do a poll, would you say the Kleins or would
Okay,
you
let's do
say
it.
Ron?
Okay.
I think Gray
Kleins
can do a poll.
or Ron. Let's see. Well, actually, we'll just do who.
Yeah, change the name of the channel. Collaboration with Gray.
Klein and Kleins.
He is smart, Adam. He really is. He's so funny. Hey, Amy. Miracle Hearts. Unfortunately, in a small town, Indiana. Oh, all right. I did my vote there. There you go. Mentality is common and goes by.
The thing is it's weird when people are pretending that the Ron Logan stuff is new. Like, oh man, it's a new development. It is new to us to read the document. I guess
absolutely
the document's been around for a while. I think that's where a lot of these so-called, great predictors of people were able to sort of put some of that stuff in their theories out there. So.
Yeah, it was really surprising. It was like it came out, and then I'd never seen, so many channels covering Delphi ever. I was just like, whoa.
Maybe
and I thought I really missed something. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's new information.
Yeah.
And I start reading, and I'm like, wait, what? What's going on? I was so confused.
Yeah, it's just
let me get with Gray and see what's happening here.
Yeah, I mean, it's 5 years old. There's no.
Yeah, Daniel, you can say neither. Sure, yeah, neither one of them.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you say neither, but maybe I should put something like associated with the Kleins.
Yeah,
because see, the Kleins, there could be this other underworld thing. I always thought it was just a random serial killer like person until the whole Klein thing came in. The Klein thing outweighed just my general theory, like having. That's just my thoughts,
I gotcha. I agree with Adam. The reason I think the Kleins is the SA motivator there. I think that Tony really bothers me to my core. He really bothers me. Not saying he did anything, but there's something about him now that he's been mentioned in this case that you start paying attention to and thinking about and think, could that be possible? I mean, the police haven't done anything with them, so I don't want to
I'm going to end the
say anything crazy, but there's something there that you're like, yeah, I don't know about you, buddy.
So 79 votes.
About you, buddy.
So that means, like, gosh, 10 people think Ron Logan. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. It's definitely possible.
Well, I think it's, when you say definitely possible, I think it's very unlikely. Yet
I agree.
Possible.
Unlikely.
Yeah. Like highly unlikely. Like literally, they looked into him for years and years and years, and then they said, this isn't really panning out for anything. And then they started over again, and then revisited the Kagan Klein search warrant situation, and then that led to the largest, or one of the largest sex pornography rings in Indiana history, and it was associated with the Dropbox account of Kagan Klein.
Yeah.
And then we have Kagan Klein's phone communicating with Libby's phone at 8 in.the morning that day, and communicating with them at a sleepover just a couple nights before. I mean, it's just, man, how that isn't, I'd be shocked if there isn't some connection to the Kleins in some way.
A lot of coincidences when, how many coincidences are there really in a murder? Yeah. Then again, we did have the laundry case where we had the two ladies and they were all in the area, and he did kill Gabby. We all knew that. And Gray and I were like, there's no way, man. There's some way this guy has to be involved. This is too big of a coincidence, but it was a total coincidence.
I mean, what a bizarre coincidence that is.
It is, isn't it?
That
it was crazy.
literally probably talking to one of those other two girls that in that very time frame that they were murdered. I mean, unbelievable.
Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Ron Logan
Are the
having his...
Delphi investigators looking for local Colonel Williams type? I don't know,
Yeah,
Anna.
but to
I
see
think they should be if they're not. It could be somebody well respected. It could be,
yeah,
God knows.
but like Batgirl typed in, Ron Logan having his cousin lie for him is pretty sus, but doesn't really prove much. Well, see, to me,
No,
it's not really that suspect though, because he was trying to avoid the parole
getting in trouble
violation,
for driving, right?
and he did get in trouble. He served like another year in jail because of that violation. That's a huge amount for a 77-year-old.
Yeah,
And
you
it,
don't want to serve a year in prison when you're
yeah,
77 years old.
yeah, and then he died
That's
2 years after that. Like, so that was it. He served a third of the rest of his life for driving. Okay. I mean, that's crazy, right? I mean,
that's brutal. Ugh,
I mean, he's not like this great guy or anything. I mean, I'll tell you that, but
no.
I'm just saying.
No, I don't think he was a great guy, but if I had to take him and what I know of him and what I know of
No,
the
Kevin,
clients, so there's a big freaking difference.
So now we got the trolls showing up. 100% Ron did it. That's crazy. No, he didn't. So the Delphi it's just troll central. I mean, they just show up and...
I think he's saying 100% Ron did it. That's crazy. I don't think he's saying 100% Ron did it. I think what he's saying is...
I can't tell by there's no commas. I mean, if there...
Yeah,
I don't know how you're able to
maybe.
do that. But what are you saying, Kevin? What are you saying?
What are you saying, Kevin? Are you saying he allegedly did it?
Yes. What are you saying, Kevin?
Tell us, Kevin.
That's the ASMR sound.
I hate ASMR.
Don't you like it when...
But I'm always doing those
love
voices,
the true crime where they whisper? Hey, no.
Oh my God, that's the worst.
What a joke. You know what that is? It's making a mockery of the case.
It is.
Just
I don't even like laughing on a podcast. I think it's rude.
Yeah, I mean, but sometimes, well, you're not going to laugh when you're, like, the part that you put out, but, like, my fish joke was funny. Everybody thought it was funny. Even you.
I'm like, what?
If you're laughing at the case, it's rude. If you're laughing at
That's why I cannot listen to podcasts where they start out in the beginning joke, like there's a lot of joking, and then they're talking about, making drinks, and I don't know, something about it really, really, really bothers me. I'm like, this is very serious. You're talking about a child murder.
Yeah.
Why is this a funny podcast? You'll read the description of the podcast, true crime with a spin of our own humor. And I'm like, okay, no.
Look at that. Amy typed in fried betas.
Fried betas, you jerk.
Bam! God, that's awesome.
That was not funny.
It'd be cool, though, is to have them like, forget it.
Don't even do it. I have a brand new guy.
A shish kebab.
Don't play with me, Grace.
You have one of those little sticks where there's like...
Tell me how stunningly gorgeous this fish is.
Oh, wow, that's really cool.
So impressed.
Oh, that's really cool. I like that.
What? Can you see him good?
Yeah, that's good. Wow, very cool. Beautiful? Looks like the American flag almost.
Doesn't he?
Yeah.
I love him. He's so cute. You're going to be my new buddy. I'm preparing this tank right now, actually. I save the betas. I do. I go in there and I'm like, oh, you don't look like you're in good condition. You've got to come home with me.
I do have to bring this up, though. There's this wacko YouTuber out there that says he's from Australia. I won't say the name of the channel. But he's just going after Kelsey. It almost seems a little stalkerish, like a kind of a strange fetish type of thing. Because he's made like 15 videos about Kelsey and how she is he calls her a psychopath, and comes up with all these crazy theories. And the scary part is that there are hundreds. Like, he'll have a video with 2,500 views, but with 600 comments. Because there's that's weird. So many people that believe that crap, and that's scary because who knows,
it's like that in all the cases.
But who knows what psycho will
try to hurt one of them?
Yeah, and this guy is an absolute pile of shit. I mean, I don't mean
that's
to
terrible.
Tell you, but oh god, and he does this fake cry show the other day where he's like,
I think you sent that to me.
Yeah,
because
what it was Cody made a GoFundMe for Libby, and then he goes, why didn't they put Abby on there? Oh my god, what? What do you mean? It's like Cody's like this family member. He probably just was, I don't know. It's for her too, a funeral cost maybe at the time. What difference does it make? Why are you? I mean, this guy is an absolute psycho. There was tons and tons of money raised for both of them.
I stayed far away from those channels. They're scary.
Yeah, I think when you see that, make sure to type in something negatively or report.
Or type in something in defense.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like,
don't allow that stuff to go on. Without you guys, there's no us. So,
and that's what I mean.
Just let it pass by.
It's going to be negative to him, whatever you say that doesn't agree.
For sure.
So, so
Kevin did reply to us, Gray. He said, so I just joined, but in my mind, I have been watching this case for a while. This whole Ron thing is crazy to think about. His walk, the way he says down the hill. So he doesn't know. He doesn't know either.
I don't think he walks anything like him. He doesn't look anything like the person, doesn't sound like the person. He's 77 years old. Would he be able to pull a 200-pound person that's not alive? I don't know.
Yeah, so Kevin was just coming in. He's saying, can you explain to me what you think about Ron? Yeah, we covered the whole thing. We personally don't really believe that he was the perpetrator for a number of reasons. Yeah. But if you haven't watched the previous videos, we did some on the Kleins, and we both kind of really felt more pulled towards them, but we don't know either. I'm sure the police are hopefully.
Well, see, Kevin, what you got to realize, Kevin, just think of it like this, Kevin. This is 5 years old, this document.
Yeah.
They thoroughly investigated him, collected every single thing from the house, and it never led to any charges on anything. However, he was put in jail for his parole violation, which is the reason he was lying to the police so that they wouldn't find out that he was driving his vehicle. The document is going to be written in a way that sells a theory to a judge so that they want to sign. They'll sign it, and then they can go do their search warrant, grab all the stuff, and after all that time, they found absolutely nothing that led to charges. Now, maybe they found a thing here and there, but there was never any charges of any kind. And, there's actually plausible explanations for everything that counters what they were saying.
And he's saying that too. Yeah, his facial hair in the video the girls recorded was dark, not white. I thought that same thing. If he had facial hair, it's looking more like shadowed than that white. I didn't see glasses, but they could be covered because his head was down. I don't know.
And I don't even see like a hat. I see a hat, maybe like I've got, and then, a hat like this, and then a hoodie pulled over.
I kept thinking a hoodie. Yeah,
it's like a hoodie pulled over the hat, maybe, right? Like,
he seems to read and think. I suggest you probe into any corruption in the case. Yeah, for such a search. Yeah, stay over there. So, someone named Steve. It's always Steve.
I always say Jim.
Steve's always up to something.
Yeah.
Maybe. Running around the streets doing all the things.
Steve and Jim, I guess.
Well, those Steve guys. Yeah. All right. Well, it's been lovely. It's in the high 80s. It's going to be in the 90s this week here. What do you think of that?
Well, I think it's not going to be that here, so screw you. I'm just kidding.
Lola, don't lick my feet. Stop that.
Gross. Yeah, so I guess basically what it is it possible he had something to do with something? Sure.
Everything's possible.
Is it likely, given the fact that he was never charged? No. This isn't new information. It is new to a lot of people in the public, but it's 5 years old. It's not like this is fresh lead coming out. Oh my God, let's look at
No, this is not.
So that's what people seem to kind of forget as they're thinking through it, that it's old and it's been worked through. Now they moved on to something else that seems much more viable and much more likely is the Klein direction. Is that going to be it? We don't know either. It could still be a random serial killer person that killed him.
It could have been somebody who stopped by there. They're saying, oh, this bridge, I've heard about this. Let me get off. And he's a killer.
It's a place where kids
there were killers who traveled all over the country. They had kill boxes, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you never, it always shocks you when you end up finding out the real truth.
Israel
It's
Keys.
crazy. Israel Keys. Yeah. What a nut.
Yeah, my
You know,
friend,
and
I got something for you. My friend Cairo, he sent me, he has like all these case files on that thing. So that might be something, that might be an interesting one to do at some point.
I'm very interested in Keys.
Maybe we could do that on here at some point because he has, I mean, I have
He
this
is
entire
unreal.
folder of all this stuff and there's all this other information that's come out.
Yeah, we should, because he's fascinating. He's one that I'm like, you did what?
Yeah.
You know, these people they're horrific, horrible, terrible people, but they're fascinating.
Yeah, he's
They're
just
just something
he's
else.
really interesting because he had a family, cared about his kids, but he just had this desire to go around, and he is like what you would say almost like the quintessential serial killer, like just absolutely
what you think a serial killer is. Yeah.
I mean, just absolutely amazing, crazy.
I mean, you have some nutty ones. You know, you had Bundy and
I like Ed Kemper.
John Wayne Gacy.
Ed Kemper
He was
was
the clown for kids, for Lord's sakes. What are you doing, sir?
I did one on Kemper. He's trying to
Kemper
say,
was a
I
nut.
found, look at this. He goes, I found, you know, at the end in prison, there's an interview with him. He says, I found God, and I'm really, listen, Kemper, listen closely. Based on what you did, God wouldn't hear a damn thing you ever said because
I don't think God's interested.
yeah,
Kemper.
you had sex with heads of people. I mean, you
Not
are,
good.
Yeah, you're
Not good.
a freaking monster. There's no redemption for you.
I think there's security guards at the gate. They're
I
like,
think at a certain
no.
point, I know you tried, Kemper. See ya. Yeah.
We're gonna put you in the middle area for now, okay, and
Yeah.
see how you behave, and then maybe we're gonna let you up here.
Yeah.
We don't know yet. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Some of their last words are just wackadoodle. Oh, I
Yeah.
got to get my fish out of there. He's
Okay.
swimming funny. Why are you swimming funny?
Uh-oh. Maybe he
What
heard
did you cursed him?
I think he heard us talking about the deep fryer. And he was like, no. Oh, God, I don't want to go.
Damn you, Graves. Yeah, Gacy. I did a video on him. Oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
Tons of research on that loony bird.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right, guys. Well, hey, that was cool. Thank you to
thank you, guys.
Teresa Ann, Amy CHS, Teresa Ann, Anna,
What happened, buddy? You're right.
and Chico's Mummy. And then also welcome to the Velvet Army.
Velvet
Stephanie-
Army. I love that name.
Yeah, Stephanie K. and Teresa Ann. There you go.
Your fish is swimming funny because he's having nightmares about getting deep fried.
Yeah, there you go.
Too bad
Yeah.
Ron Logan is on video at a bar drinking. Oh well, grifters murder shits. Nice try though, releasing 5-year-old information.
They didn't release it.
I
yet.
know. Were you waiting till the end? None of your business. Guess what? Nobody's gonna even see your comment.
Yeah, and also they didn't release it. I wonder if they were meaning. Let me read something.
Let's not. Can we not? We're ending the show now.
Yeah.
The show is over. None of your
Oh, I
business.
see.
Okay.
Yeah. So the thing is
You tried it though.
They didn't.
You wanted
release
Gray
it,
to go
though.
off, didn't you?
They didn't.
Didn't happen.
Well, they didn't release the information though. It was Ron Logan gave it to HLN a while ago, and then it's been out there. So law enforcement
No, you
wasn't part
can't
of
see
it.
it because they held it for review and I hit it, so he doesn't even get the
Yeah.
satisfaction.
Good job. Good job.
I don't get no. No. Yeah, they're just trying to piss Gray off so that Gray can go off.
That's right.
And
That's
it's
right.
not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So-
she'll mute me.
Yeah. We're professionals over here.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we're professionals. All right. Well,
That's what we are.
We'll see you guys later. And yeah, thanks for being here. Where's the thing?
Bye, guys. Hey, Sass.
See you later.
Thanks for coming by, Kevin. They were trying to get you, Gray. Did you see that?
Yeah, Gray, they were trying to get you.
I know they were.
They did.
I know.
They did. They were trying. Didn't work. Oh, you forgot to stay safe out there.
I still say it.
Oh,
Oh yeah, that's right, everybody.
that's bad luck.
That's right, everybody.
Stop.
Be safe out there. And what about yours? Your part?
I love you so much, except for the one who was a troll. Bye.